Scars Prison's Survivor Hour, where survivors of child sexual abuse share their stories, their journey, and their path to healing in the hopes that by revealing their secrets, they can inform our community and help to save our children from child sexual abuse.
Welcome back, everyone. You know, when we left off the last segment, we were talking about behaviors. And I asked you, how did this impact you as a young person and into your teens? And you started talking about rebellion. Mm-hmm. That was the word that you used. Let's talk more about that.
I wasn't a rude child. I grew up, my mother and my father were quite strict. I wasn't rude, but after that experience, from the ages of 11 to 15, my mindset was nobody could say nothing to me. That was my mindset. My mindset was, I'm been through this terrible thing and I'm just gonna live my life. That's how I was thinking at,
We hear
13,
that a lot.
14.
Yeah. And while it's very normal for adolescents in the pre-adolescence and adolescent phase to start challenging rules, challenging their parents, behaving a bit rebellious, many times it's amplified when children are traumatized. And then also, there are also internal consequences in terms of establishing an identity. And adolescence can get disrupted. And so you start seeing kids that have been through especially sexual abuse wanting to either change their bodies in some way, shape, or form, or try to change who they are and become somebody that they're not in order to protect themselves from feeling the impact of a victim. And you had mentioned that I see that your name is Sister Jaro. Can you explain a little bit of that?
Yes, I am currently going through a name change. My name was Roche Douglas, and now I wanna change it to Jaro Calabras. My mom named me Roche, which is French for rock. And I always knew that. So I always felt like I was a pretty solid, strong, pretty firm person. But I think what ended up happening to me was that after I was so rebellious, I went upstairs, because it was a 2-story house. I went upstairs to live with my grandmother. And during the time I was upstairs living with my grandmother, I met my first boyfriend. And he came from a very loving home. He was very loving. He had dreadlocks. Dada's locks touched the ground. Mama's locks came to her calf. Very, very loving person who opened up my eyes to just a whole different lifestyle. Wow. And that's how I got into becoming a Rastafarian at the age of 15. And one way that I was able to express myself was through poetry. I actually ended up writing a book, and I published it in my 2006. I don't know how old I was then, but I remember the date. Wow. And even though I was only with him for maybe 2 years, it has such an impact on my life, because had he not intervened, I think that I would have been even more rebellious, because I already had that mindset that, something terrible's happened to me. Nobody out here understands it. And that was just my mindset. And then I met this young gentleman who really liked me and, took me home to his mom and dad, and the mom would have me in the house and she'll be cooking sometimes and have the apron on me. And that was very healing to me, because it was like I went from just not caring about myself, in a state of not caring, in a state of destruction, and people really, really love me, and people are really kind to me.
Right. So you were experiencing that.
My very, very first boyfriend had a great impact on my life, him and his whole family. And from there, I started to write poetry. I performed a few times at in schools at assemblies. Like I really
Yeah.
loved my poetry, and people started to call me Jaro.
Wow.
I fell in love with that name during the time that I was a Rastafarian, which was probably through the ages of 15 to my early 20s. I was a Rasta, and I fell in love with the name Jaro. So now, at this point in my life, just trying to heal, because it doesn't happen overnight. Healing is a gradual process. You know what I mean? Sometimes it takes a whole lifetime when you're talking about heal. But with me, the type of person I am, I honestly want to get there. I don't want to say, well, I'm healing. I honestly want to get there. So this name change, I look at it like Roche, and it's not a disrespect to my mama, because when I do change my name, officially change it, I'm keeping Roche as my middle name.
Right.
It's not a disrespect to my mom.
Right.
But I look at Roche like, Roche, y'all been traumatized. Y'all been through a lot, love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's almost like with my name change, it's almost like I'm giving you a rest. It's not like if I walk out the door today and somebody said, "Hi, Roche," it's not like I'm going to be like, "My name's Jaro." It's not that. It's me just telling, "Oh, Roche,"
Yeah.
just,
So in your way, you're protecting her.
I'm protecting her, and I'm telling her, like, you've been through a lot. Like, just have a rest.
Yeah.
Have a rest now. Let Jaro take over. Like,
Yeah.
let the rock.
Yes.
Let the rock step in.
Yes.
And that's my reason to change my name. Is no disrespect to him. Like I said, people could call me Roche till I die, and I will still answer to that name, as it's the name that my mom gave me.
Yeah.
But Jaro, it reminded me of days when I was happy, days when I was writing poetry,
Yes.
days when I was performing, days when people respected me. And that's what I prefer to be called, Sister Jaro, because I want to look at myself as everybody's sister. I'm not above anybody. I'm not below anybody.
Right.
I'm your sister. And I'm
Yeah.
a person, I'm always been very open.
Yeah.
I actually named my poetry book Open because of my personality. I was going to name it Open Soul.
Yeah.
And then I just calmed it down to Open.
Wow. I mean, you're getting your power back. That's how I'm looking at this, as you getting your power back, because your healing began when you met that boyfriend, and when you started receiving genuine love.
Yes.
And when you started using your poetry as a way to heal.
Let's take some of that love that you shared baby daddies and shared ex-husband and shared all these other people, and let's give some of that love to yourself.
Yeah.
So like, I'm going to continue to grow and prosper despite what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that did not come overnight. I have highs and I have lows.
Well, healing takes time, right? Healing takes time, and it's a different journey for every single survivor. I say it all the time. On behalf of Scars, Alicia and I, we just thank you. You are a rock for being here today and speaking your truth. That takes strength. And courage. Well, everyone, revealing is healing. Awareness is so important. We can't stop talking about this issue. The sexual assault of children is preventable. And we all have a part to make sure that we do what we can, that we react responsibly, that we recognize signs, that we talk about this issue, that we understand this issue. Okay, everyone, so don't go anywhere. We are going to come back with another survivor story. We're going to learn. We're going to see this issue through the eyes of our survivors. So this is Survivor Hour, and we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. We'll be back after these messages.